at a conference this evening, so we will welcome him back next meeting on December 18th. Next is the President's Report.
Good evening, everyone. I've been a trustee on this board now since 2011, and I spent most of this day preparing these remarks. Martin Niemöller was a German pastor and theologian born in 1892. Initially supportive of Hitler during the lead-up to World War II, he eventually became the leader of a group of clergymen opposed to Hitler. In 1937, he was arrested and sent to the COD. He survived and became a widely known public figure. His poem or statement describing the dangers of political apathy is widely quoted. And I'm sure many of you will know this. First, they came for the socialists. And I did not speak out. I was not a socialist. Then they came for the trade unionists. And I did not speak out. I was not a trade unionist. And they came for the Jews. And I did not speak out. I was not a Jew. And then they came for me. And there was no one left to speak for me. My statement tonight is directed at the various extremist, right-wing ideologues and groups attempting to discredit this stellar institution, its administration, and its elected leaders. The most recent personal assault today on our chair, Aaron Hurt, is the tipping point for me. Just as Trustee Hamilton's threat to the chair, as in, what goes around comes around, I'll get you, was an exhalation for my support for the censure resolution for Trustee Hamilton. Edgar County watchdogs, Illinois elites, and for the good of Illinois and their ilk, including members of the Tea Party, feed on misinformation, scurrilous inferences, and outright lies. So let's talk about the 5 items that are almost always on the agenda. Those impressed checks, that impressed account. Absolutely nothing illegal. And by the way, services do not have to be bid out per Illinois law. There's nothing against board policy or otherwise to be found among these invoices, receipts, and checks. If the board had expressed an interest in seeing these checks and receipts and invoices, we could have seen them at any time. There was nothing hidden about any of that. We have, and frankly, from my perspective, still do not have a compelling interest to look over that account. This account has operated continuously and absolutely flawlessly within the parameters of board policy. The water leaf and the inn at Water's Edge. These were facilities in which the ed specs were carefully drawn and executed to provide maximum return on the taxpayer investment. And the current numbers that we just received all indicate an upward trend. I once was a small business owner. It takes a while to get it started, but we're on the right track. Our students have the benefit of a world-class environment in which to train for careers in the hospitality field. Now, the various events for trustees and administrators have a purpose. They're there to create a cohesive team. The members of this board see each other once a month. Many of these board members work full-time. 3 of us are retired, 4 of us are not. We have only these board meetings to interact with one another. And that short period of time spent over a meal is helpful to us. And the amounts listed, I want you to pay attention to this number I'm going to give you. And the amounts listed in the most recent expose posted to the Huffington Post and emailed to COD employees amounts to just 0.00017%. I think that's 17/10,000%. If you divide the dollars that were listed by the $187 million operating budget for this college, that's what you come up with. So that's worth all the this. The water leak has been used more often than not for marketing purposes for the college. I myself requested a lunch for several leaders of the Chinese community in Naperville. Was that a waste of taxpayer money? I certainly don't think so. One of those leaders will be teaching a continuing ed class for the college this spring on Chinese culture. I do not know if some of them may have sent their children here. But I do know this, before they saw this college, they had no idea what treasure was in their backyard. And let's talk about the president. Despite the criticism he has received, and so he earned, he is the most remarkable leader who has accomplished many, many good things at this college. I've lived in this area for 35 years, and I came here for courses way back when. This was like a bunker here. It was almost forbidding. Now it's welcoming. He is the board's only employee, and we take our responsibility very, very seriously. He sets the tone for the college, and he is our ambassador to the district's residents. Show me the organization with a perfect leadership dynamic. You know, I'm a retired teacher, K-12, District 203. Back in the 80s and the 90s, they wanted all the K-12 districts to be run like a business. And I used to marvel at that. I said, which one? Which one should I pick? And you think of all the crash and burns that we've seen in the business community, we're doing mighty fine here. I've been long enough to know that perfection is not out there. Well-meaning and talented folks do the best they can. I don't want that shame on you to go away. There's no shame anywhere here. Constructive criticism is valid and welcome, but personal attacks, never. And that's what happened today. And I'm not going to give you the details. They're just too crude to report. But that's the tipping point for me. And let's also mention the $20 million grant from the state of Illinois that was promised to this institution in 2006. Take yourself back 8 years. That's when it became a line item in the budget for the state of Illinois. The money was to assist the college in the demolition of temporary buildings that were circa 1965, that had well outlived their usefulness by that time. As trustees, and I've been here since 2011, never was there a trip to Springfield or a visit here on campus when we did not lobby our legislative delegation for that $20 million. And we got, with the originally $25 million, we got some of that money, but the bulk of it stayed unfunded. As it turned out, the hope for that $20 million that might actually come our way was communicated to us by various individuals last spring. And the email in which the president speculated about a way to move that process along sooner rather than later was conveniently the target of a FOIA request from Apathy. And then it became an embarrassing and ultimately losing scenario for COD. And I want you to pay attention to this. The preposterous assertion that we would create a need for the $20 million on whole cloth is absolutely false. The request for the Teaching and Learning Center had been on our annual ramp request to the state of Illinois for years. And for those of you who are familiar with that, the ramp request is a document we receive every year in which we list those items we would love to see, a wish list if you would, of projects we would love to have some state funding for. And that Teaching and Learning Center had been on that ramp list for many years. The proposed original use of the money, demolition, had been accomplished with our own money, the money from our taxpayers, as the need grew to the point where we could no longer wait for the state's money for that purpose. But certainly, we had other worthy uses for it. And let's talk about the expense of this vendetta. And that's what it is. For the last, well, I went to August, September, October, November, 4 months of it. In August, I was home in Sioux Falls, South Dakota with my family for a funeral. I sat on the bed in my mother's second bedroom and I listened until almost 1 o'clock to the criticism levied against this college. Let's add it up, shall we? The potential audit of the impressed accounts, $85,000. Enough to provide full ride scholarships for 17 students. The $20 million we lost, at least up to this point, has to be added to the total. And then there are the legal and staff expenses to process over 50 Freedom of Information requests, upwards of $100,000. So you know what the total is? Remember that small, tiny percentage, 0.0017? This is a big number. $20,185,000 in total. And all for what? These are dollars that could have been so much better directed. These are tax dollars actually wasted. None of the accusations have been validated. None. And before I close, let me say that this college is one of the most renowned community colleges in the United States. We are second only to the U of I undergraduate higher ed in Illinois. And just pick up on some of these stats. I really wish you could run the pages and pages and pages of accomplishments, but I'll give you a few. Nearly 25% of the high school graduates in this state selects, in this district, select COD for their post-secondary ed. 20 academic programs feed into 12 baccalaureate 3+1 programs. Programs in which, in specific fields of study, our students can achieve a bachelor's degree awarded from one of 5 reciprocating universities, all in 35 grand. That was 1 year for my granddaughter at St. Olaf's. 4-year degree, $35,000, it's offered right here. Completed or have underway $550 million in campus improvements, including a renovation of the Naperville Regional Center, which will have its debut in January. 2 blocks from my home, it's going to be fantastic. And we're going to talk about that $550 million and attendance, because oftentimes people are challenging our attendance and our growth numbers. You're going to find that out too. We've reduced energy costs by 13.8% while adding 630,000 square feet of space, LEED certified everywhere. From 2010 to 2014, now pay attention to these numbers, COD has enjoyed a 10.3% increase in headcount enrollment. Now, I'm new to higher ed, kind of. Headcount and FTEs, do you all understand what that means? Body count versus a full-time equivalent, which is like 15 hours worth of study. COD has enjoyed a 10.3% increase in headcount enrollment, contrary to the rest of the state's community colleges, which experienced an overall average decline in headcount of 11.1%. Now, that's on average. During that same time period, COD enjoyed an increase of 6% for FTE, now that's full-time equivalent measures, compared to the average across the state of a decline, 13.1%. We're doing something right here. Introduced the Presidential and Academic Scholars Program for academically enriched students. Enrollment from 2009 to 2014 is up 562%. I'm a former teacher of gifted students. They did not often select a community college as their college of first choice. They do now. The Chronicle of Higher Ed ranked College of DuPage as the top producer of Fulbright scholars within its institution's Carnegie classification. Awarded $26.7 million in capital funding from the state of Illinois, which was previously audited again. Everything is perfectly fine there as well. We maintain the college's AAA bond rating from Moody's and Standard & Poor's. The United States bond rating is lower than ours. Awarded the Illinois Performance Excellence Bronze Award in 2013, making COD only the 6th community college to receive this award since the inception of that award in 1996. And I know we worked on that in District 203 many years ago. It's a hard award to receive. More than double the number of student scholarships awarded by the College of DuPage Foundation, from 300 to 600 over a 4-year period of time. I serve on that foundation board. What an amazing group of dedicated individuals are dedicated to this college and to our students. Received the Governor's Award for Academic Excellence in Serving Veterans. COD was the first community college in the state to receive this award, and we serve upward of 1,200 veterans on this campus. And we can boast of a faculty second to none. Nearly all with advanced degrees, including 30% of our full-time faculty with an earned doctorate. And you combine their expertise with small class settings and an abundance of hands-on instruction, all in state-of-the-art classroom and lab settings, and you have the makings of a world-class college education experience tailored to meet the variety of needs within our district. I mentioned earlier that 25% of the high school students choose College of DuPage. The average age of our students, at least last time I checked the fact book, was about 31 years of age. We serve everyone. We have junior high students in our summer program, and we're there all the way through those senior years. We're an awful lot of things to an awful lot of people. This treasure is being threatened, and I am asking for an end to the harassment and the attacks from sources both within and outside our community. COD is a true treasure, one which we all support through our tax dollars for the benefit of everyone. And you should look at your tax bill one of these days, too. I looked at mine the other day. I think I'm paying like 0.04% of my bill that comes to the College of DuPage. It's a small number. My school district takes a big chunk. But this college, because we all support it, takes a very small portion of your tax dollar. And look what you're getting. Community colleges are unique to our country. I don't believe they're anywhere else in the world. And a lifeline for so many as they make their way through life. We're the economic engine for workforce development. We're the engine for the middle class. You've all heard about income inequality these days and how wide the spread is, how dangerous that is. I taught geography to my 7th grade students, and we talked about countries where there was no middle class. There's no stability. There's constant revolutions. We need our middle class. It's essential for our democracy. I have never encountered anyone who was critical of the education they received at this institution. As a candidate, I would go around and ask people, how many of you have attended the college? Oh, almost all the hands went up. And afterward, you know, when they'd have my ear one-on-one, nothing but praise. Never have I heard criticism. And that is our mission, to support the students and the faculty of COD to the best of our ability and to safeguard the resources with which we are entrusted. I sincerely hope that reasonable people will come forward to reassert their commitment to COD and to push back, thank you, these unwarranted attacks on the college, especially the very personal attacks on our chair, Aaron Burt. The important message so eloquently stated by Martin Niemöller is that we cannot stand by idly and say nothing, do nothing. And I'll tell you, had I called my 90-year-old mother before I came tonight, she would not have supported what I'm doing right now. She'd have said, keep your head down, Diane. But that's not really how she raised me. And that's why I'm speaking out. It is time to be counted, time to stand up for this community's college. And pay attention to the upcoming election for trustees in April. Be informed. And thank you for listening, and I'm hoping that you will join with me to put an end to these vicious, unwarranted attacks. Thank you.